I can hear my husband and mother-in-law's voices in the distance. They belittled and disparaged the lunchbox shop I had cherished. I had endured my mother-in-law's harassment for 7 years, but was it right to be trampled on like this? Honestly, I had reached my limit. I had endured many hardships, but never had I felt such frustration. I was so upset that I couldn't even cry. "Please, let me get a divorce," I said, forcing the words out from the back of my throat. The next day, I started quietly preparing to leave, packing my belongings. Click. When I looked to see what it was, my husband's stepdaughter, Serena, was pointing her smartphone camera at me and laughing.
Being divorced twice is so hilarious. Ha ha.
Pathetic! You were probably dumped by your ex-husband too.
Adding insult to injury, my husband chimed in. Just then, I heard the sound of a car outside. "It looks like my ride is here," I said, and everyone present looked puzzled. Outside, a luxury car with a chauffeur was waiting, and my husband, mother-in-law, and Serena were all taken aback. Ignoring their murmurs, the door quietly opened and out stepped a tall, handsome man who looked like a model. The moment Serena realized who he was, she screamed.
Justin!
He was a genuine model named Justin, about the same age as Serena. Amy and Jason just stared at him in disbelief, unable to grasp the situation. They couldn't believe such a big star was standing before them. Serena, covering her mouth and slightly excited, asked,
But why is Justin here?
I calmly and coolly responded, "My name is Nancy. I was divorced once, but I have now been remarried to my current husband, Jason, for 7 years. We are both working, with Jason employed as a company worker and me running a lunchbox shop. My shop is located just a little off the main street of the shopping district near the station. Welcome. How about a chicken lunchbox?" I had been selling lunchboxes at my shop, Nancy, and was calling out to customers that day as well. 7 years ago. Whether it was my voice or the smell of the lunchbox, Jason came into my shop. With his handsome face and tall, slender figure, he was the kind of man who could take your breath away. Outside, it was drizzling, and unlike the people hurrying past, he stood still, carefully looking at the lunchboxes displayed inside. He must have spent a good 10 minutes deciding.
Excuse me. Can I have one chicken lunchbox, please?
I remember how he looked embarrassed as he brought it to the register. After he paid, I put the lunchbox in a plastic bag and handed it to him. He then asked,
Do you have some time after this? Maybe we could have a meal together.
No, that would be inappropriate, I replied.
Then, could I at least get your contact information?
Of course, I refused that too, but he came back another day. So he continued buying a chicken lunchbox and making small talk before leaving. He'd mention things like how nice the weather was, how pretty the flowers outside were, or how delicious yesterday's fried chicken was. Through these repeated encounters, I gradually became attracted to him. We started sharing personal stories, and we discovered that both of us had been divorced before, which brought us closer together. Jason said,
If you don't mind, would you go out with me?
What?
Actually, I fell in love with you at first sight when we met.
He confessed. With that, our relationship quickly deepened, and it didn't take long for us to reach the goal of marriage. Being with him was so enjoyable that time seemed to fly by. Even after I started living with Jason, I continued running the bento shop. Of course, there were times when I thought about closing it down. Business wasn't always booming, and the building itself was getting old. But Jason reassured me with a smile.
Don't worry! Nancy, your lockboxes are delicious. Be confident. We can still make the shop work with some renovations.
I don't have the money for renovations, I said.
I do!
Jason replied.
Let's get a quote from a contractor.
Even though we were married, I felt it was too much to ask of him. I tried to refuse several times, but he didn't seem concerned. On the contrary, he said he was happy to help. In the end, we decided that he would cover about half of the renovation costs after discussing it together. After the renovation, the shop looked clean and almost brand new. It's like a brand new building. It's all thanks to you, Jason. Thank you so much. No matter how much I thanked him, I truly couldn't express my gratitude enough. Interestingly, after the renovation, we had a constant stream of customers. Some even mistook it for a new shop. The change in the shop's atmosphere likely contributed to this. All right, let's keep this momentum going. Let's add some new items to the menu. I felt energized and enthusiastic, and every day felt fresh and exciting. Even a simple trip to the supermarket became a quest for new lunchbox ideas. My cooking skills improved, and Jason, without any bias, would often say,
Delicious!
with a beaming smile. Focusing on the shop brought new energy into our lives. This lunchbox shop became my passion. With the addition of new menu items, I was more dedicated to the shop than ever before. As time went by, it was already almost a year since I remarried Jason. Compared to when we first started dating and during our honeymoon phase, our conversations had significantly dwindled. Given our age, it's perhaps natural that we've settled into a quieter routine. I didn't question this. What did concern me was Jason's fickleness. The phrase easily excited and easily bored described him perfectly. His hobbies constantly changed, and each time, he'd go on a spending spree. When he got into golf, he bought numerous balls, clubs, and outfits. He even became a member of a country club in another state and played golf with his fellow members weekly. Initially, I was genuinely impressed by his enthusiasm. However, our house soon overflowed with golf equipment, and just as I struggled to keep things organized, he picked up a new hobby, solo camping. He said it started because of an invitation from his golf buddies. I asked him why he would go solo when he had a family.
That's just how men are.
He said, touching his chin and striking a pose, as if he were deeply impressed with himself. I couldn't quite understand it, but maybe he was more of a romantic than I thought. To an outsider, he might have looked a bit ridiculous. He started buying all sorts of solo camping gear. One-person tents, sleeping bags, foldable chairs, cups, plates, and other utensils began arriving in droves. He claimed he bought everything recommended on online shopping sites. Hey, don't you think you're buying too much? Where are you going to put all this?
I'll just store it in the shed for now.
He said. But the shed was already packed with golf equipment, leaving little space for the camping gear. He shrugged nonchalantly.
Okay, I'll keep the camping gear in my room and put the tent and chair in the shed.
He decided. So, he spent some time organizing the shed and finally managed to squeeze everything in. Jason's hobbies included not just camping, but also motorbikes, fishing, and bouldering. His equipment occupied various parts of the house, making it hard to keep track of where anything was stored. It seemed like he didn't have a concept of throwing things away, and the items just kept piling up. Eventually, his enthusiasm for solo camping faded, and the camping gear was left untouched. It was always my job to clean up the house, but my mother-in-law, Amy, would just watch and criticize.
Nancy? You're touching Jason's things again without permission?
Amy had a harsh attitude toward me and complained no matter what I did, even when I was tidying up. If we let things pile up like this, there will be no room to walk.
Excuses. Excuses. Oh, how dreadful.
She would say, sighing and looking at me with disdain before walking away. When I remarried and moved in with Jason, his mother also came to live with us.
I'll be staying with you,
she said, showing up with a large Boston bag and a carry-on suitcase. I was shocked. Apparently, Jason had approved the arrangement without telling me. I whispered to him, "You didn't tell me about this."
It'll be fine. Mom's a good person, and I'll protect you if anything happens.
He assured me. But I had a bad feeling. My intuition was right. The very next day, Amy's verbal attacks began.
A bit bland, isn't it? I can't taste anything,
she'd say, pouring more soy sauce or vinegar on the stew.
If the cooking here is this bad, the lunchbox must be nothing special.
Her words stung, making me feel as though all my efforts were being dismissed.
Mom, please stop. Nancy made this for us.
Jason would defend me initially. But whenever Amy said something, he would quickly fall silent. It seemed he couldn't stand up to his mother when she spoke sternly. Amy constantly found new things to criticize.
Nancy, what's this dirt? Can't you even clean properly?
She'd say, pointing to the dust and sand accumulating in the entrance.
And the stairs too. There's dust gathering in the corners. How can you not notice?
I know. I couldn't help but think that if she complained so much, she should at least help out a little. But she never did any cooking or cleaning herself. She just criticized me. Jason eventually stopped defending me. He probably didn't want to get involved in the hassle. When Amy started her tirades, he'd get up and leave the room, even during meals.
See, because of you, Jason left without eating.
Actually, it's because of you, I wanted to say but held back. Jason's stepdaughter, Serena, also looked down on me, encouraged by Amy.
Hey, I told you I hate fish. Why did you serve it? Are you trying to annoy me?
As a high schooler, Serena was outspoken and spoiled by Amy, refusing to eat anything she didn't like.
Whatever. I'm done,
she'd say, leaving the table, ignoring my efforts to provide balanced meals. I wondered how long this daily struggle would continue. Despite my worries, I put on a cheerful face at the lunchbox shop, my one sanctuary. Since the lunchbox shop gained popularity, sales have increased, and we have acquired several large clients. This was unimaginable before the renovation. The shop's success is thanks to Jason, I thought. I tried everything I could, new seasonal menus, and smaller and healthier options for women. Still, Amy and Serena scoffed, making me feel frustrated. Even after 7 years of marriage, nothing changed. Despite the constant sarcasm, I developed a habit of letting their comments go in one ear and out the other. When I didn't react to their remarks, Amy and Serena seemed to lose interest and eventually stopped. Meanwhile, Jason started coming home late more frequently. I wondered what was going on, but the smell of perfume on his suits and shirts gave it away. It was a sweet, feminine scent, unlike anything Jason would wear. He must have another woman. A man who quickly loses interest in his hobbies likely does the same with relationships. Amid these troubled days, I returned home after a day at the lunchbox shop to find Jason making an unexpected demand.
We're selling the lunchbox shop for cash. You should find a job that pays more,
he declared. I was stunned, standing still with my eyes blinking in disbelief. What? Did you just say we're selling the shop?
That's right! Get rid of that lunchbox shop that only poor people visit.
He insisted. I had no idea what had brought this on. Soon, Amy joined in from behind, gleefully saying,
That's right. It's embarrassing to run a lunchbox shop for commoners.
Her eyes sparkled as if she thought it was a brilliant idea, but I could sense nothing but malice. Why do we need to sell my shop? We're not in financial trouble, I protested.
I need the money right away,
Jason responded. For what? I asked.
Stop arguing and do as Jason says. How dare you talk back to him?
Amy shouted.
Really? If you sell the shop, can you buy me a bag?
Serena chimed in, suddenly perking up. Serena, now a university student preparing for job hunting, seemed to have developed a taste for branded goods recently. I won't sell the shop. No way. I protested, but my words fell on deaf ears. Jason declared.
The shop is under my name anyway. Don't pretend you've forgotten.
His words shocked me. During the renovations, we changed the ownership to his name, thinking it would be beneficial in the future. I had trusted Jason completely. I never imagined it would backfire like this. Their voices seemed to grow distant as they argued. My precious lunchbox shop was being taken away, ridiculed, and belittled. For 7 years, I endured everything Amy said, but now, to be trampled on like this? I had faced many hardships, but nothing had ever felt so painful. I was so angry I couldn't even cry. I want a divorce, I said, my voice barely a whisper from deep within my throat. The next day, I began quietly packing my things. I filled a suitcase and several boxes with clothes and personal items. I even packed the mug I used. Click. I heard the sound of a camera shutter. When I looked up, Serena was aiming her camera at me, laughing.
Divorced twice? That's hilarious.
She mocked.
Miserable, are you? Got dumped by your first husband too, huh?
Jason added, twisting the knife. At that moment, he reminded me of his mother. I supposed it was natural, given they were related. Amy was humming happily. As I finished packing and carried my things to the entrance, I heard a car pulling up outside. It looks like my ride is here, I said. Everyone looked puzzled as I opened the door and stepped outside with my luggage. A chauffeur-driven luxury car was parked outside, leaving Jason, Amy, and Serena stunned. Amy asked,
What's with this car?
Jason added,
A luxury car? Why?
Serena noticed someone stepping out of the car and exclaimed,
Hey, someone's getting out!
Ignoring their murmurs, I watched as the car door opened. Out stepped a tall, handsome young man, looking like a model. The moment Serena recognized him, she screamed.
Justin!
The young man, Justin, was a bona fide model, not just in America but globally. He was a national heartthrob, starring in hit dramas and movies. His roles ranged from charming high school boys to enigmatic villains, earning him a reputation as a genius actor. Amy and Jason stared at him, failing to comprehend who he was. They couldn't believe such a big star was in front of them. Serena, covering her mouth in excitement, asked,
But why is Justin here?
Calmly and composed, I replied, He's my son.
What?
Serena and Jason shouted in unison. Justin gave a polite bow to the bewildered trio.
Thank you for taking care of my mom.
He said, his tone gentle but his eyes stern. His impeccably handsome face delivered the words coldly, making Jason, Amy, and Serena feel the weight of his gaze. It wasn't quite a glare, but the intensity was palpable, filling the air with a tense energy. Justin continued,
I've done a thorough investigation into your activities.
Jason flinched, his shoulders twitching. His face turned pale, and beads of nervous sweat appeared. Justin said,
Of course, I'm aware of the situation with the shop. We will be seeking appropriate compensation from you.
Amy exclaimed,
Compensation! What are you talking about? That's absurd.
Justin replied,
Oh, don't worry. We won't take any money or valuables, but instead of compensation, we will be taking back the shop.
He smiled darkly as he said this. Jason and Amy were paralyzed, frozen in place by his icy demeanor. Justin continued,
Our lawyer will be in touch.
Like a line straight out of a movie, he spoke smoothly and then gestured for me to get into the car. The only one who didn't stay silent was Amy, who shrieked in her high-pitched voice.
Wait! You're planning to sell the shop yourself, aren't you?
Amy accused. Jason chimed in.
Yeah, you're just the same as us.
Despite their accusations and insults, Justin remained unfazed. Whether it was an act or his true self, I couldn't tell. He sighed softly and then said to me,
Remember when I ordered your lunchbox for the film crew? It was incredibly well received.
Really? I asked, surprised. Justin nodded.
Yes, it was highly praised. The director even said he wants to order from you again for future shoots.
Justin smiled, predicting an influx of orders. Now that I thought about it, I have noticed an increase in large orders, including for film shoots. Given the number of staff and actors, it made sense.
So, there's no way I'd sell your shop.
Justin declared. Justin. I muttered, feeling my eyes well up with tears. I had never imagined seeing my son stand so tall and be so dependable. This wasn't a movie, it was my reality, and it filled me with immense joy. Serena opened her social media app and navigated to a famous actor's account. There, she saw a post featuring Nancy's lunchbox with a hashtag and thousands of likes. Serena exclaimed,
This is crazy! It's totally viral!
She then turned to Jason, yelling,
Why didn't you tell me Justin was her son?
Jason and Amy, still in shock, stood there with their mouths agape, unable to process what was happening. Ignoring their commotion, I got into the car with Justin. As the car drove off, we caught up on our lives and laughed together. It reminded me of 10 years ago, back when Justin was in middle school and I was running the lunchbox shop with my previous husband. The shopping street was bustling with activity, and our regular customers and other shop owners frequently bought our lunchboxes. Even back then, Justin was a popular, handsome middle schooler and well known as the poster boy of our shop. Somehow, word got out, or maybe it was just fate, but a scout from a modeling agency stopped by and asked if Justin would be interested in modeling for magazines. Justin seemed hesitant, but I encouraged him. Don't worry about the shop. Give it a try. Not everyone gets this kind of opportunity, I said.
But,
Justin hesitated. If you don't like it, you can always come back to the shop, I reassured him. From then on, Justin appeared in various magazines and thrived as a model. However, just as things were looking up, my husband had an accident. On his way back from delivering lunchboxes, he made a detour to buy some extra ingredients and collided with a large truck. By the time I rushed to the hospital, it was too late. I still remember the feeling of falling into a dark abyss, with no light in sight. I didn't know what to do about Justin's schooling. Then, the agency suggested that Justin study abroad, thinking it would be a good opportunity for him to expand his modeling career.
Mom, I'll become more famous and come back for sure. Until then, don't give up on the lunchbox shop,
Justin had said. So, Justin went overseas to study, and I stayed behind to run the lunchbox shop alone. Even while he was abroad, we kept in touch, and I occasionally mentioned my remarriage. But I kept Justin's existence a secret from Jason. I worried that revealing it to my new family might cause unnecessary trouble. I didn't want anything to hinder my son's career. Even after remarrying, Justin and I continued exchanging messages regularly. However, to avoid worrying him, I didn't mention Amy's harassment or the issues with the shop's ownership. I always sent the same messages, saying I was doing well and encouraging him to do his best. Despite that, Justin seemed to sense something was off.
Recently, I've been worried about you, Mom. So, I looked into a few things.
Justin admitted. Oh, you silly boy. I'm sorry for making you worry, I said.
No, I didn't want anything bad to happen to you.
Justin replied. Welcome home.
Thanks, Mom.
We embraced each other warmly, savoring the moment. Justin said,
So, Mom, let's talk about the future.
To my surprise, he had arranged a house for me. Please don't trouble yourself. I can manage on my own, I replied.
It's fine. I want to be a good son and take care of you.
He insisted. The house was within walking distance of the lunchbox shop, fully furnished with all the appliances and utensils I could need. It was the epitome of comfort and convenience. I was so moved and grateful that I almost cried. Thank you for such a wonderful home. I'll cherish it, I said. From that day on, I started a comfortable life in my new house. Justin quickly hired a lawyer to settle things with Jason. He planned to reclaim the rights to the shop and seek alimony for Jason's infidelity. Additionally, he intended to demand compensation from my mother-in-law for the mental distress she had caused me. However, what the lawyer discovered was even more shocking. Jason was currently involved in disputes with multiple women, at least 4 besides myself. Realizing what a shameless man he was, I felt more relieved than ever that I had managed to divorce him. I also heard from the lawyer that Amy and Serena have become reclusive. They had been bad-mouthing my cooking and the lunchbox shop to friends and neighbors, fabricating stories about bland food and infestations of rats and insects. However, their baseless claims were not taken seriously, likely due to the high ratings the lunchbox shop received on social media. Consequently, they were seen as troublemakers and shunned. Serena even had a job offer rescinded because of her negative social media posts. I could almost hear my mother-in-law's shrill voice saying,
It's not our fault. It's that wife's fault.
The embarrassment must be overwhelming for them, as they value their public image greatly. But they brought this upon themselves. As for me, I've continued running the lunchbox shop post-divorce and my days are fulfilling. Thanks to Justin, I regained the rights to the shop. When I received this good news, I was so thrilled I jumped up 30 centimeters. He also introduced the shop to his actor friends and directors, leading to a TV feature. This increased our popularity, attracting customers from far and wide. On weekends, our lunchboxes sell out quickly. I hired more staff to handle the increased demand, turning the shop into a bustling enterprise. Although we face occasional mistakes and issues, I am immensely grateful for our success. People often ask why the shop is named Nancy. Justin was curious about this too. The answer is simple. Justin's father said he loved my smile and named the shop after me, making me the poster girl. Hearing this, Justin, our customers, and employees all respond with an enlightened I see. This shop was never just my endeavor, it has always been a joint effort. And now, with Justin and the employees, it's even more so. The busy shop is filled with a variety of lunchboxes, from staple items to trendy new ones. Welcome. How about a hearty chicken lunchbox? It reads a sign promoting our #1 seller. A young man near the sign picks up a chicken lunchbox and brings it to the register. Thank you, I say as I make it a point to stand at the counter and serve customers alongside my team. Today, the lunchbox shop Nancy is as bustling as ever.